The truth is an irony, just like animal farm. Justice mean inequity. So who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Christian can say silence. Islamic leaders silence. Kings and queens silence. Traditional leaders silence. So who go say the truth? We are the workers of composite call. Now by area, why no better? We are the workers of composite call. One guy's out here, why no better? Who go say the truth? Who go say the truth? Oh, he need it now, see what I see so. Now your friend, and I ain't come at them. Only baby, Obeka, nice and beer. So I want one, Obet you at two. Everybody was afraid. And when you nan to my cottage, I get 9. Once my boy dumping one and I see. But who go tell the truth? Nanai, or say me. Nanso bien person beka wasam because everybody is afraid. Anya safwe muayini. Aku drop for nyina dalima. And who go say the truth? Obiaja konson so to cross your mansa to me be a kakobrafo. Efo anyina ye. Efo when you know yet. Na so kutrata down na so be dia back or why no keke. I fene for be man mo pia for efo ne cross on my mo. Hanya safwe mo ayini. Akuku drop for you na dalima. And who go say the truth? Abaya di bote chino. Yedi bi bebo nyande bi. Kachi se udi oma upipi numa. Would your mind never shine my frafonsa? But who go tell the truth? TUC silence. Even journalists silence. Oh, then who go say the truth? Right is right. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you justify. You say you wanna get rid of corruption. Someone want to help you, now the person become your target. Jobless no they mean senseless. Poverty no they mean useless. One day them go resist.
Hello, wonderful people. Good evening to you all, and welcome once again to your favorite news analysis, social and political show that shows every evening live on Today Ghana News TV. This is MyView show, where we bring you the best of all the social, political, and developmental matters as they pertain to Ghana, to Africa, and globally as well. This week and this evening, as usual, we are here with you. And once again, we are here to serve you the best there is to developmental matters. And this evening, we are zeroing down on Ghana. We have been on Ghana for quite a while, but over the past few weeks, we have concentrated a lot more on political discussions. Nonetheless, this evening, we are going to take a quick detour and discuss other matters. Well, they may seem not to be political, but as we may be aware, almost all social issues are political issues. and almost all social and political issues are developmental issues. And as and when things pertain to development, you can always trust that we would always tackle them and tackle them head on with all the seriousness it deserves. Now, this evening, what do we have to serve you? Few weeks ago, well, before then, a few years ago, the Republic of Ghana, led by some of its members in Parliament, embarked on a journey to redefine some things that happen in society. Well, not to redefine them, but to emphasize and to lay bare where their sentiments as a country lie. According to some people, this was a social matter. According to some people, this was a cultural matter. But they decided to take a step forward and to not leave it to traditional interpretation or social interpretation, but to enshrine it in their laws and to make some things legal and make other things illegal. If you are following this discussion by now, you would have known where we are going to and where this conversation is leading to. The law or the bill has a very complex name, but at the root of it, or for people who want to deal with it, very plainly, they say that it is an anti-gay bill. And this bill was passed a few weeks ago by the Ghanaian Parliament, which is the one that is mandated to make laws that govern the people of Ghana. Well, as things may have it, this passage of this, well, it's not fully law yet because the president has not assented to it. But the passage of this bill by the Parliament of Ghana has resulted in some rumblings in various quarters. So this evening, we are asking the simple question as it pertains. Ghana's Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. We are asking the question, is it the case of cutting off your nose to spite your face? And as usual, to deal with these matters, we are not the qualified people to deal with them because we do not have the authority. But what we can do is to bring you guests who are well-versed and well-knowledgeable and passionate about the topics that we are discussing, so that together with them, we can unravel the issues and get to the bottom of them, no matter how tough or how difficult they may be. And so this evening, we are joined by someone who is quite regular on our show, who is a Ghanaian. In his other life, he also doubles in politics. But today, we are dealing with the matters as a Ghanaian. And so he's here to help us, look more into the passage of this bill and the matters surrounding it, so that we will satisfy ourselves as to whether indeed we did the right thing or the wrong thing, and what the consequences of our right things or our wrong things may be as we have them. This evening, we are privileged to be joined by Mr. Conrad Domba. Mr. Conrad Domba is, as I said, a passionate Ghanaian. He is a Ghanaian in the diaspora who is very interested and very concerned about developmental and social matters as they happen in Ghana. As I said, in his other life, he also doubles as a politician. He is the chairman of the NDC chapter of the UK Ireland of the major opposition party in Ghana, the NDC party. But like I said, today we are going to be talking more about developmental and social matters and not politics. And I hope I can restrain him to that. Mr. Domba, good evening and welcome.
Yes, thank you very much, Uncle Albert, and a very good evening to all the very cherished listeners. I'm always happy to be here.
And we are always happy to have you, and we are always excited to have you join us for our show. Before we go on, let us say a very warm welcome to some of our loyal listeners and viewers. We say a very good evening to our viewers on Sakina Information Center in Tetali. We also say a very warm evening to our listeners on a high FM 93 Hima in the Eastern region, and also those who are listening to us live on the King's Radio in Accra, and to those who are also viewing us on all your major social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn, and wherever you are listening to us. This is still MyView show live on Today Ghana News TV, and you are welcome. So, let's find out, how are you? How are you doing?
I can't complain. By the grace of the Almighty, there is life, and as the French would say, s'il y a la vie, il y a l'espoir. If where there's life, there's hope. So as long as we have life, we continue to hope. Even if our situation is not good, hopefully it will be better.
Try and restrain yourself from engaging politics. This is your answer to how are you. It's very political and very diplomatic.
Every man is a politician, though. They say even in the family there's politics between father and mother. The children know which part of the political divide to belong to. But
well, I'm told that in most families the man is always the opposition leader, and the wife is always the ruling party.
Yes, that's one of the few situations where you become opposition leader for life. You never win elections, you know.
Interesting. Anyway, so Mr. Dumba.
Yes, sir.
As I said, a few weeks ago, we all have been following this issue about this law or this bill. It's not a law yet because it's not been assented by the president. This bill, the Ghana's, human sexuality rights and family values bill, we've been following it over the past years and see it move through the formulation stage, the first reading, second reading, the third reading now, and the passage, the endorsement by Parliament into law. And let me let you in on a little secret. Mm-hmm. The day before, or the day after it was passed by Parliament, I woke up to my normal routine. And normally, before when my alarm beeps and I put it off, I automatically get the news, the headlines of the news from all the international media houses, so that before I spring out of bed, I am well versed as to the current state of the world before I get out of bed. Yeah. On that very day, everything I was hearing from the news was Ghana. BBC, the first thing I heard was Ghana. On CNN, it was Ghana. On Al Jazeera, it was Ghana. On Reuters, it was Ghana. On DW, it was Ghana. That scared me a little. So I sprang up and went to read the news for myself. And there it was. Apparently, the country of your birth, Ghana, on the day before, had joined the list and become the 84th country in the world that has criminalized in some way or form, shape or form, the act of homosexuality, and had joined, well, I don't know whether it is a famous list of 64 countries. Before we go into the matter, a yes or no question, Mr. Dumba, was this worth it to be in the news for this reason? Was it worth it? Yes or no?
It's difficult as a politician to say yes or no. I think the simple answer is no. And there are many reasons why. I don't know if my basic arithmetic still works. But today we are in 2024. Mm-hmm. Now, from my mathematics, the basic mathematics I've got, what we are making a lot of noise about actually happened in 1960.
Oh, really?
Why has it taken 64 years for the world to realize that it has always been illegal to engage in homosexuality in Ghana. We had a criminal code, section 104 of our criminal code, 1960, has always proscribed homosexuality. So what happened, in my view, was a simple refresh. It's like I wake up and then I decide to bath and then for the first time, douse myself in perfume and wear my favorite smock. And then my wife sees me and is surprised. When did you arrive? I have not arrived. I have always been here. It's just that I just refresh myself by drawing attention to it for emphasis. I see that bill, which should be signed into law, as just a reminder. It has always been illegal. And people, look, not long ago, a couple of years ago, I think there was a doctor in Ghana who was arrested for what do they call it? Improper carnal knowledge of some gentlemen. They were being put through the courts using that same section 104, not this act that is there to come. All the people who have been sued or have been processed through, and you can look it up, there are many of them in the history of our country. It has always been under section 104 of our criminal code. So why there's a whole song and dance about it, I don't know. But the only thing is that what I know is that the gallant men and women of our great parliament had to re-emphasize it in another way to make it very clear to this current government that they cannot sell the way of life of Ghanaians for pittance on their way out. I'm not going into politics, but that's the only reason. Every single president since 1960 has faced one form of pressure or the other. So when I said it wasn't worth it, it means, come on, we should have been in the news in 1960 or 61 or 72 or 81 or 92 or even 2023. All this while people were pretending that it has always been legal in Ghana, and suddenly, boom, now it is illegal.
Okay,
that is why I say no.
Okay, Mr. Dumba, let me draw your attention to a fact. Now, you said it's always been in your laws. The people who are talking now, they say that portion of your law that you are talking about is a relic of your colonial laws that you adopted from your colonial masters or your or your colonizers. And so that act of unnatural carnal knowledge that you have had is a relic of colonization, which you have fought tooth and nail to free yourselves of. And today you are a free republican country under no colonization at all. So if you are colonized, if you were colonized and you have fought to extricate yourself from colonization, why insist on carrying the burden of colonization and carrying the burden that your your colonizers left for you? Why not move on?
It's a very good question. And the answer is really simple. And the moment they start asking that question, I wonder whether they're actually listening to themselves. The reason is this. It is true that the British, when they colonized us, proscribed homosexuality in all its forms. Even in this country, in Britain, very famous people. I mean, the guy who was spearheading, when you hear of code breakers, Bletchley code breakers, a village not far from me, barely 10, 15 miles down where I live in this Milton Keynes. Alan Turing, if you mention him, he's seen to be like the father of computers. There's still the Bletchley code, the code breakers, the park, the Bletchley Park. If you come there, you see all the good stuff. They were able to what? If you like, intercept and decode the Enigma, the German messaging machine that enabled them to be able to give intelligence to various allied forces on when German forces were going to attack where and all that stuff. People like him who saved this country and technically saved the West from Nazism and fascism. You know what happened to them? Some of them were forced through some form of treatment in quotes or jailed for being gay. That's what happened in the same West. That is now telling us what to do or telling us what we shouldn't do. But let's go back to the question. Yes, so they had that criminal code. In 1960, when we became a republic, we transcribed it and carried on with it. They said it was good, right? So we're doing it. They've changed their mind. Now they want to tell us that they changed their mind recently. Not we have been consistent. And we'll come to the reason why. It's not because you hate anybody. It's a bill to ensure that there's respect and there's love for all. But they themselves, having just changed from Saul to Paul, are now telling us that we should also do that conversion. Why if we decide that we don't want to be Christians? But you have the US ambassador dictating to us that this will harm us. Go to certain states in the US, Texas and co. As of last count, there are still about 16 states in the US where it is illegal to do this, to engage in homosexuality. And so when you have not finished putting out the fire in your own home, you are looking at my barbecue fire in my garden, and you are telling me that I have to snuff that fire out. Otherwise, you take sanctions against me. The fire extinguisher you have you finished dousing the flames in your own backyard? You know, and this is not being political. This is being, you have to look, every society has its way of doing things. Values, what is a value in one place may not necessarily be a value in another place. And we'll come into that conversation. But when they quickly say, oh, but this is colonial, why don't you divest yourself of the vestiges of colonialism? I say to them, why don't you do that yourself? Because colonialism was about telling us what to do, about telling us how to live. If we were still in colonial Gold Coast, this smock I'm wearing could have thrown me in counterback, if not jail. Remember Ephraim decided I will go to church. The white man says I should go to church instead of worshiping or paying respect to my ancestors. But I will throw my kente over my shoulder and go to church. They threw him out of church for wearing a kente. The man who threw another one out for wearing kente in a house of God. And I don't think Jesus Christ was wearing suit and tie. You know how Jesus was dressed. The man is now telling me that we have changed, so also change. Now, if they have changed, it means that they have divested themselves of the inclination to dictate to other countries what to do, because that's what colonialism is simply about. And if they have successfully divested themselves of that, it means they should not even be telling us that do this or don't do this. They should just keep quiet. That is what it means. So if they want us to copy them, they say, okay, we were doing it and it was colonialism. You say it's no good. You are free yourself. Good. As they encourage us to free ourselves of colonialism, they should first free themselves of the colonial mentality that whatever you do in your country is bad unless they say it's good. It's as simple as that. So that argument of it's a colonial law you are picking up. We are picking it up. We have discussed it and we are adopting it, not because it was from colonial style, but they should then see, if you gave us Republican status in 1960, independence in 1957, 67 years ago, why on earth are you still telling us what to do in our own country?
Okay. Mr. Dumba, so you are a free nation now. You can do you can do things by yourself, and you can pass your laws that govern yourselves. And you have chosen that you want to chart your own path, and that you don't want to deviate from your own values or your cultural values that you have always had. Yeah. Now, that has always been the argument of this bill all through the case, all through its proceedings in Parliament, that it is something that seeks to solidify your cultural values. Now, if that is the case, let's interrogate it a little further. Where you and I come from, we know that in our language, there are some people who were called Daulapora. Daulapora in your language means man-woman, right?
Yes.
Which presupposes that you people know about the existence of these people. Even I don't know, in the early 90s or late 80s, when I probably was a toddler, I learned there was a movie in Ghana whose title was Man Woman, acted by the popular Ghanaian actor, Wachi, where he disguised himself as a woman to scale through walls and do things, which presupposes that this thing that you people say it is against your cultural value is not alien to you, because you know it, they have existed among you, and you have even have names for them. So is this really alien to you at all?
Thank you very much for that question. And that's another angle. In fact, the other day, I heard somebody arguing strongly that they are historian, anthropologists. They've unearthed that somewhere in West Southern Africa, when great Zulu warriors often went to battle and came back alive and did so well in war, they were rewarded with I don't even want to use it, with homosexual pleasures. And I'm saying, okay. Now, the fact that in our culture, it is taboo. It has always been taboo. The laws that we have had reflect our culture. How do you prescribe something that doesn't exist? Question one. So, for example, in Ghana now, we don't have a law on AI and, if you like, regulating AI. The reason because we haven't got AI developed. It's not in use strongly. Countries that are advanced, that have already got there, have got AI and all the stuff. The fact that we don't have it, there's no law against it, means it has not gained sufficient attention for a decision should be made on should we adopt it or not. Mm-hmm. We used not to have fiber optic. There was no fiber optic in Ghana for a long time. In fact, in the world, it was only 95 thereabouts. I think no, around 80s, 85, that someone invented this whole fiber optic thing. It was Rawlings that brought fiber optic to VRA, the Voltacom then. And laws were brought in to bring it in. Before then, who would have, can you imagine the Third Republic under the great Hillary man sitting there and say, we are passing a law to legalize a fiber optic or against fiber optic? Because it didn't exist. And so when you see a law, either supporting something or prescribing it, e-levy is another example. Forget the political connotations. If somebody was there talking about we have banned e-levy in 2001, when Kufo was there, you were asking, are you crazy? What are you banning? It doesn't exist. But then, when we talk about what was that criminal libel law, it was a law was passed to ban it because it existed. Another law was passed to put it into place because there were practices that it sought to curb. And so the moment you find that we have a law, we have section 104 of our criminal code that criminalizes it. In fact, I'm sure the British will even know it very well. The reason they criminalize it is because it existed into a certain critical mass. That meant you have to take action to encourage what is good and discourage what is not good for your society. That is what laws do. It's good, let's do more of it. So we engage in it. Entrepreneurship is good. So we come up with all kinds of 1D, 1F or other, better previous ones where you are encouraging people. It is not good. Stealing is not good. Why would you make stealing criminal if stealing didn't exist? I don't think there's a law in heaven against stealing, because I want to believe that angels don't steal. The moment you see the law, it means it existed. Because it existed, society's attention was drawn to the fact that, hey, this thing is there. What is your position on it? The society says, this man did this, it was good, he got rich. So let's pass a law on making sure that cowries are good, because cowries will help you marry. Cowries will give you this. No, but this man has been uprooting another man's potatoes and keeping for himself. It is depriving the other one of their property. It's not good. Do we want it to be the same? And that's why it's like the golden rule, Immanuel Kant's golden rule. Act as you will that it be done to you. It's almost like Jesus' golden rule. You do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So if I don't want you to come and be uprooting my potatoes because it's not nice, I should not also encourage you to uproot myself to uproot your potatoes. So we all agree on a law that says, uproot your own potato, don't uproot another one's potato. And so when people say, oh, but it has always been in your culture, it has always been in your society, so why are you criminalizing it? It's precisely because it has always been there that it drew attention of the people, the then people, to criminalize it, just like they legalize other stuff, right? So it's as simple as that. So that argument, it falls flat on its face. I mean, we know from the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, and there's a reason why Sodom and Gomorrah is more famous than, if you like, many other cities. Even people who don't read the Bible, when you say Sodom and Gomorrah, they know it. In fact, the town of Sodom even end a verb to sodomize, even though Gomorrah didn't come. So this is something that has always been ancient. Men, as we are, we're experimental beings. They'll experiment here, they say, that's called stealing, stop. They experiment and they say, oh, that's charity, good one, do more. And so I don't believe the fact that, oh, it has always been there. The fact that there are local terms is to help us identify it and treat it as such. So that you don't go and identify charity stealing and punish charity. No, each one has its name because it existed. And therefore, because it existed, it was legislated for, or society agreed that it was a taboo, or it was to be encouraged. I mean, things like, let me not even go far. In our part of the world, you go to some trees back in those days, they will say that that grove there is a tengan, don't go there and farm. Don't cut those trees. There was a reason to protect them. Because now we don't follow those laws. We'll not go to parliament and pass the Afforestation Act. But if we're following those basic local taboos, that says those fruit trees, you don't cut, it was forbidden. If it's forbidden to cut a fruit tree, you don't go and cut a fruit tree for charcoal. Tomorrow you get the mango. And so those things existed and society took a position on it. The fact that they existed and had names is exactly why the position was taken on it, whether it's legalization or prohibition. It doesn't support the fact that it was there, therefore you cannot prohibit it or encourage it.
Well, another thing that has also always been there, and that has that your country have encouraged and actually promulgated and adopted and bestowed on yourselves as as something that is binding on you is the protection of the fundamental human rights of everybody, irrespective of their gender, beliefs, creed, or whatsoever. And you have you have gone further to assent to several international conventions, ranging from the supra conventions in the UN to your own African Union conventions and your ECOWAS conventions, all of which prohibit, infringing upon the rights of the fundamental rights of other people. Well, today, as we speak, that bill, say what you see or say what you may of it, the Parliament of Ghana has passed it, but one of your people is in court. It's in the Supreme Court, challenging the legality of that action. Apparently, he says that the parliamentarians were not mindful of the human rights of the lesbians and homosexuals in your country in passing that bill. Now, how do you reconcile this, your customary laws with these the respect for fundamental human rights as you have them in your constitution and in the international conventions that you have assented to?
So it's a very good question. And when that comes out, there's I'd like to say the bookish or theoretical approach that I personally have, and then there is the common sense approach. Maybe I'll start with the approach that we may all agree on. The people who talk about human rights, I am all for human rights. Liberty is a right that we all have, right? It's a human right. But even within the people who talk about human rights, watch carefully. They tell you that some human rights are absolute and some human rights are limited. And that is why your right to life is supposed to be an absolute right. And you will find something, relativity. Your right is absolute, to life is absolute. So in Sweden, in the UK, whatever you do, however you do it, they will never give you capital punishment. You'll never be put to death because your right to life is deemed what? Absolute. Let me go to my favorite Americans. The same right, but you go and do something and you may face the electric chair or the lethal injection. So the question I ask is it not the same right to life? Is there a reason why the Americans allow capital punishment where you can be put to death? And in Britain, they don't? Because that society has decided that human rights are human rights. Some are absolute, some are limited. We have decided that this will be limited to this extent. Now, let's look at it the other way. In the same United Kingdom, where the right to life is absolute, the right to liberty is deemed limited. And that is why if I commit certain offenses, the judge will not say, oh, your right to liberty is absolute. Therefore, even though you have committed A, B, and C, I should have jailed you. You go and keep working. They will jail me. By jailing me, they are limiting my right to liberty, my right to walk out. Can I say, look, I'm guilty, but my right to liberty means you cannot put me in jail. because this society has passed a particular law that says if you go and engage in manslaughter, or if you go and engage in this whatever murder or whatever, you can get up to 7 years in jail. They are limiting my right to liberty to that extent. So if you take the same and you go around various societies, and Ghana decides that your rights, your sexual rights are limited to the extent that is within the boundaries of what our law determines, then you realize that the people who will tell you that in our society, this right is limited, but in your society is absolute. In the UK, right to life is what? Absolute. That's why the law prescribes capital punishment in much of Europe, in China, in Saudi Arabia, in Iran, in the US, in Japan. They lock people's heads off because they have determined within the confines of their society that the right to life there is limited. Even within the same US, some states deem it absolute, therefore capital punishment is prescribed. Some states, Texas and the like, deem it limited. And so I come at it from that angle. The reason they limit it is because they have decided certain cultural values. You go to the Deep South in the US, right? The ones the President Obama calls gun-toting, Bible-clinging Christians. The irony of it is the most powerful Christians, they determine that they are going straight down into capital punishment. In Ghana, we have capital punishment. I haven't seen anybody making as much noise about our capital punishment law as this law, right? But that has always been there. So the point that I want to make is, look, laws are made for the good of society. What is good in one society may not necessarily be good in another society. Let me give you a simple example. In Ghana, our law allows polygamy. You know, in India, they allow polyandry. So we're always wondering, some of us, when we're kids, why is it that we, the men, have to pay the dowry? Why can't Ghana declare polyandry so that we can also sit aside and they will come and dowry us so that our fathers will see us as useful? Our culture said no. It is the other way around. We are not rainbow nation like South Africa where everything goes. Polyandry, polygamy, everything. They say do what you want. In Ghana, if you can legally go and marry, but not through the courts. There's a venue. If you go to a district assembly, you can keep marrying wife 1, wife 3, wife 10 up to you where you want. In the UK, where we are here, make a mistake in the Western world here. And some of our friends who come from other places and they mistakenly come and marry a second wife, they will do you in for bigamy. And every year, an average of 6 to 7, up to 350 people go to jail or are fined for engaging in what? Having more than one spouse. So you see, within the society, in the US, it was even worse and it's still illegal. The same society that is saying that our culture doesn't allow a man to have more than one wife or a woman to have more than one husband. In India, it's legal. Women can have multiple. When they get here, they can't. Should Indians say that they are more advanced and that the human rights of the woman to have more than one husband is being flouted? In our Ghana, in other countries, the same thing here. So the question you are asking is, I don't condemn them for prescribing polygamy. Why should I be condemning them? In the same way, you have polygamy and you have monogamy. Yeah, okay. They decide they would go, they'll legalize homosexuality, LGBTQ. There's an I, I'm sure there's another thing coming. It used to be LGBT, then there's a T, then there's a Q.
Keep getting longer and longer.
Longer and longer. But the point is this: who am I to judge? Your society has decided that if any man marries more than one woman, or any woman marries more than one man, consenting adults, you will jail them. In Ghana, if you have a reverse law that says that don't engage in homosexuality, then each country has its own reasons. I'm not going to justify or not justify. For example, if 2 consenting ladies choose to marry you, you are a very handsome man. If I were a woman, I might marry you. Unfortunately, I am not. Then you will go to jail in Germany because 2 women have agreed. Or if you are lucky enough and a beautiful lady decides to marry you in addition to her current husband, that lady will go to jail. Or all of you get into jail. You are consenting adults. There is no public health issue. In fact, you have to be at least 18, mature to do it. You then have our situation in Ghana where we're already grappling with issues of getting antiretroviral drugs for AIDS and all those stuff. And I'm not pigeonholing, but you and I know it's proven over time that homosexuality is one of the most rampant a means by which AIDS is spread. We are not advanced. We don't have all the technology. So we are trying to curb some of the problems that could force us to spend the meager resources we have on sustaining our cricket NHIS and not on continuously diverting it into more antiretroviral drugs. So you can see the health perspective, apart from the cultural taboo perspective. All I'll say is to those who say, oh, your culture is against the law. Our culture, the law was written to reflect our culture. Now, they say the Constitution says human rights. Yes, human rights. And this is where whether those rights are absolute or those rights are limited. There's a right to education. I'm not seeing them condemning government of Ghana because we have got schools under trees or people are doing traffic light education. Why are they not banning us and saying don't give us IMF loans because our students are doing traffic light system, that our universities are struggling, that we don't have enough desks and textbooks? Why are they not doing that? We have a right. Nobody, look, needs, Maslow's theory of needs, the last time I checked, food, shelter, and co are there. I didn't see the other one there. Why are they not saying that government of Ghana plunged about 800,000 Ghanaians into poverty? The World Bank said it. I didn't see the US embassy threaten to withdraw investment if we don't make sure that the poor come up above poverty level. The basics that our society needs is what we should be focusing on. If you are a very hungry man, you may not even be able to go and do what they ask you to go and do. We are there talking about bread and butter survival. You are talking about how a person should have sex. You see, so, and this is about the priorities of the West versus our priority. This bill, in my view, from an economic perspective, it makes sure that, one, we are respecting our cultural values, right? If the cultural value in the West is to do something, let's respect it. When you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. So when I am here, even when I go to Mecca and come back and I'm Alaji and I'm entitled to 4 wives, I will not try it here because you know what they'll do to me. I would rather go to Ghana because I respect their law. So they too, when they come to Ghana, just respect it. If you go to Ghana and they say in Ghana we drink palm wine, no beer. If you want beer, fly back to England and drink your beer.
Yeah.
This one is not a problem. It's you live and let live. The English say it themselves. So I don't really see all the noise about, oh, your culture is against human rights. Our culture embodies what we deem human rights, and we can change our culture as and when we need to. Our culture doesn't ban mobile phones, so we can. It has no harm to us as we see it.
Well, Mr. Dumba, take a pause and drink some of the very good English tea to suit your throat. We'll take some messages from our we'll take some messages from our viewers and our listeners, and we'll get back to you. When we come back, we would be looking at the implications of that law, because as you are well aware, there are financial implications. So we will, or they may be, we are not certain, there may be financial implications. We'll take a dive into that and look at the other issues surrounding it. So in the meantime, let's take some messages from some of our viewers and our listeners, and then we'll get back to Mr. Dumba. So if you are still watching or viewing us, we are live on Sakina Information Center in Tatali, also live on High FM 93.7 in Achimhimai, and live on the King's Radio in Accra, and also live on all your social media networks, on all your on Facebook, on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, and all your favorite social media networks. Live as MyView show on Today Ghana News TV. So, Jaframa TV. You say you are watching us live from Rara in Oti region, powerhouse of online TV. Chairman is a good asset to the next NDC government in 2025. Mr. Dumba, it seems you're already getting an appointment from Jaframa TV. Kweku, you say simple input. Akufo-Addo and his government supports Trumu in Ghana. Greetings from Suhum Eastern region. Kweku, I'm not sure where you are getting this from. Razak Azeku, you say, I think we've lost that message briefly. Let's try and see whether I can get that message back. Razak, you say, Chairman Conrad, keep inspiring and leading the UK Ireland. Of course, Conrad Domba, you are being admonished to keep up your good work as you are doing. Sekapa family, you say greetings from Jomopo near Koforidua, Jomapo, I think Jomapo near Koforidua. How can chairman discuss the sensitive topic without politics? The bill itself is political. Agufo Baumia are disgusting characters. As you can see, Sekapa, he has managed to do so far without discussing politics. I don't know whether he can complete without discussing politics. Kwasi Insia, you see, myself and my family are watching from Anglo Town, Koforidua. Thank you very much, Kwasi Insia, for doing the watching as always. Mavis watching, good evening to you, Mavis. I'm always delighted to watch this gentleman, this great man. His submission are very fascinating and inspiring. My husband sent him his greetings also. We are watching from Lisbon, Portugal. Mr. Chairman Conrad, greetings to you from Mavis and the husband. Frempom Bafi, yeah, you say you are watching attentively from Akusi near Somenya. Today is your first time watching this man, and you love his fluency. He's on point, and you are saying you would like to comment more, but rather your internet is bad. Sorry to all the good people in Ghana. We hear about your internet issue. Sorry to you, and we hope that you will be back online soon. NDC Diaspora Union, you say, I think MPP is only confused government. They should give way to the NDC and John Mama, watching on YouTube from Amsterdam, Holland. Thank you very much, NDC Diaspora Union. Asempa Ihene Buachi, you say you are watching as always and listening from Akinhimai. Powerful guest you have today, of course. Mr. Domba, you can never beat him. Nanata Fremu, you are saying good evening from totally Northern Ghana and Sakina Information Center listeners. Always is a delight to watch Chairman Domba. Mr. Domba, it's always a delight to have him join us on the program. NDC Germany chapter, you say, Comrade Albert, may God bless you for the good work you are doing for NDC, and to and to Chairman Domba. We love listening to him because he is a deep thinker. God bless him. God bless Mr. Domba for his great input. Robert Kimpe, Robert, you see, the West should also go to the Arab states and promote this evil act. Even is forbidden in Russia. Greetings from Paris, France. Thank you very much, Robert Kimpe, for doing the watching and living as usual. Fans TV, you say our courts are not independent from the executive control. You are watching from Aplau. Thank you very much, Fans TV, for doing the watching. Umar Dennis Mahmoud, you say good evening, comrades. Good evening to you, Vice Chair, for doing the watching. Kontinana, you say Chairman Domba, you are the best of all the chairmen in diaspora. Wonderful and educative. Watching from Warsaw, Poland. Thank you very much, Kontinana, for doing the watching as always. Frima Oye, you say, ow, educative show, but my internet is not stable at all. You are watching from Manthe near Who. Sorry, as always, all our viewers in Ghana. Osei Superior, you say, kudos, Chairman. You are doing justice to the topic. You are watching us from Barcelona, Spain. Thank you very much, Osei Superior, for always doing the watching. Nyame Yao, boy, you say, I love the beard. You love the bread and butter part. God bless you, Chairman. Watching from Nkwanta in Oti region. I am the popular tea seller in Nkwanta Lorry Station. You forget to add Adilema Community Information Center in Kwene and KJB. Oh, sorry to all our listeners in Adile Information Center. Nana Ama, you say this man is full of wisdom. My chairman, you never disappoint. Always happy to listen to you. Thank you very much, Nana Ama, for your comment. Malik Dramani Mahama, You say, Mbadashie, regards to our chapter chairman, Dumba. Thank you very much, Mr. Malik, for the greetings. Becky Stone, you see, God bless you, Chairman Conrad, for your selfless leadership. May God bless the womb that gave birth to you. Thank you very much. Comrade Maxwell Neti, you say, Comrade Albert, may God bless you for the good work you are doing for NDC and Chairman Domba. We love listening to you because you are a deep thinker. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you very much to all our listeners and our viewers for the wonderful messages as always. And thank you very much to our wonderful guest for today, Mr. Dumba, for joining us. Mr. Dumba, welcome back to the show. And as you may have heard from the comments, our viewers and our listeners are enjoying the show and tapping into your wonderful wisdom as always. Unfortunately, our Ghana people are suffering from internet disease, and so they are not able to enjoy the show. But for those who are lucky to have you, I am sure that they probably would share this on other platforms so that other people can listen to you later and tap from your wisdom. Before we went on the break, I would try to remind you that, you know, you may be passionate about your beliefs and your wishes, but actions, they say, have consequences. Before anybody complained, your own Ministry of Finance, not even the minister, but they said Ministry of Finance, which presupposes that these are the technocrats in the Ministry of Finance. They wrote a letter to your president telling him not to assent to the bill that will pass it into law. And with a reason that if he does that, your country is going to lose substantial amount of money. I think that one last count, they were counting in the trillions or billions of dollars that you people are going to lose from if your president assents this into law. First of all, Mr. Dumba, from what you know, is this factual? Is there anything that says that you are going to lose any money from if your president assents to this?
Thank you very much, Uncle Albert. And I want to say thank you very much to the kind words of our listeners. And I send back all my greetings. It's always my pleasure to be here in the company of the great and good of our dear motherland. I particularly like, just because I'm like my uncle Roger Metununu, Nyamiya Obio of Nkwanta Lorry Station. He said you are selling tea and bread. When I come for a campaign in Oti region, I will pass by you to make sure that I will do the return match. You know, Uncle went to oh yes, Nyami is asking me. Oh, my
if you adopt the branch in Nkwanta,
you see, I will go there so that I can have the tea with bread, and I hope he has biscuit. Because the last time we played the first half of the match, the EC gave us tea and no biscuitless tea. We had tea, no biscuit.
You went looking for biscuits.
I will buy tea with bread and then chiboom. It has to be loaded. Fully loaded. But thank you very much. Yes, my constituency is West Central, but I'm also resident in Bolga Central, Bolga East, and of course, I'm also in Iowa, so West Wagon when I'm in Accra. So I'm a man of many constituencies, like many of us Ghanaians. The magic question you have asked, they say we will lose money. The first thing that came to, when I heard it, I was laughing in my head. And the reason I was laughing is this. How can you tell a broke man that he will lose money? I am broke because I don't have money. And you are threatening me with losing money. Maybe give me that money first. And then after I've got the money, then you can threaten me that, Charlie, I can take that money away from you. Ghana is broke from all intents and purposes. And I'm not going down the political angle. I'm looking at it as a citizen of Ghana. We are broke down and under in every single way. So when someone comes to tell you that, oh, you lose money, the one I don't have, or you're going to give me some money and then I'll lose it. In any case, all this rubbish about investment, the banks won't lend to us and all that stuff. The last time we got a euro bond, the last time we got any market loans from the capital markets was before September 2021. And this is quite interesting. When we went in September 2021 for a Euro bond, the reason we were refused will tell us whether we will lose money or not. Operator packaged that bond as what you call eco bond. And the proceeds from that $1 billion was to help in environmental, whatever, community. You know, they say, everybody say, oh, take an environmental green bond and you plant more trees, good for the environment and all that stuff. Is that not part of the human rights that we've always been talking about? So the question was, why did they refuse? Why did the rest refuse? The West refused to give that bond. That was an environmental and social bond. It was supposed to, part of it was to help green Ghana. You remember when they did that thing where they said people should go and plant trees? They planted trees. The next thing we know, they said they spent millions of dollars on planting trees. We don't even know where the trees are. I'm not doing politics, but I'm just trying to bring out the fact that the last time we went to these same Western people and said, you agree with us that there is climate change. You agree with us that there's desertification creeping up on Ghana. You agree with us that everybody should plant trees. We should all be eco-friendly. Okay, we want an eco-bond. That was Operator and tune into what they feel is what they like. You know what they told him? On your bike. They refused to give him the loan. Why did they give him that loan? Because it would have been used to plant more trees, to counter climate change and all that stuff. They refused because Ghana was broke and nobody wants to put his money in a bottomless pit. End of. And since then, IMF and World Bank have been helping us with tofa, small money to tide us over. They've still not let us back into the capital market. 3 years after that, September will be our 3 years. So the simple question is, in the modern world, in the woke world as we have it now, if you want to be the most popular, you have to be LGBTQI and all the other alphabets that will come. You have to be friendly to it. You have to be friendly to the environment and all that stuff. They themselves were unfriendly to the environment and refused to give us that bond. And the reason they cited was that we were not economically stable. No investor was going to give you your money because you're going to go and plant trees, knowing they won't get it back. Those investors who had given before and they were getting haircuts, who is also going to lend? So you tell me this, if Ghana was as stable as we were in 2017, January, for example, when we were able to go, remember 2017, we did a hat trick. We went and got 1 billion, another 1 billion, another 1 billion. We did 3 billion and we did Kinky Party. They didn't give us that money because LGBT was legal in Ghana. No, they gave us because they could see the economic growth was coming. 7% in 2017, 8% in 2018, and more. They could see that more money is coming because the business of Ghana was doing well. The foundation had been laid. Oil wells were flowing, and therefore income was coming in. The economy was growing. More taxes were coming in. Therefore, if they give you that money, you are able to pay them back. That is the only reason why Kwesi Broni gave us that money. The moment Kwesi Broni realized that the bus has come off the go mango, the tire has come off the go mango. Now we're on 3 tires instead of 4, so we are doing balancing. They refuse to give us money. So the reason they are not giving us money today is not because LGBT is legal or not legal or legal. It is because we are fundamentally broke. Which bank is set up to give loans only to countries that will what? Or which investment firm? Where I work, the bonds that are given or the engagement in the debt market operations is not necessarily looking at, oh, this country is. That means Saudi Arabia will never have got any bonds if they ever floated. And yet when Aramco was to be listed, people oversubscribed. That's Saudi Arabia. They don't joke around with those stuff. You know what we mean. So why would poor Ghana be there saying they won't get money? The people telling you that we will lose this amount of money. Where is that money? Show us that money. If you can show us that money that we will lose, we will use it now, and we may think about maybe postpone the thing till that money is finished.
Okay, Mr. Duba, you are a very political person, and I'm sure that you will not forgive me if this show passes without me giving you some political topic to talk about.
Absolutely.
But still on the same matter.
Yes.
When your country decided to pass e-levy, some people in Ghana, in fact, your party, decided to go to court, Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
But while you were in Supreme Court, everything, the bill that was supposed to be the one that was supposed to pass that law into an act of parliament that made it law, it was assented by your president, and they started taking this. They started taking the proceedings of e-levy without waiting for the court proceedings to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Today, your president, the country of your birth, your president says that some private individual has taken this bill that's been passed by the parliament to court. And because of that, he is unable, as a human rights lawyer, and be mindful of the laws or the laws that govern your country. He's unable to assent that bill into law, and that he would have to wait for the court to make a determination before he can append his signature to it. Mm-hmm. What is your take on this position? Surely you must be happy, because you said some rights are absolute, including human rights.
So this is the thing. It reminds me of one of my favorite verses in the Bible. When they asked Jesus, "Are you the Son of God?" He said, "You have said it." But on this occasion, my brother, when you ask me whether Nanado is engaging in double standards as a result of the two scenarios you have painted, I would say that to avoid being picked up at Kotoka when I land next time, you have said it. So now that you have said it, I'm just adding more to what you have said.
Remember, I also landed in Kotoka one day.
When you get there, say no, you didn't say it. You only mistakenly let it slip from your lips, and I'm the one who added fire. Hopefully, by then I'm back.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, but back to the question. I think that the pungent order of hypocrisy that the president exhibited on that particular one is one that is yet to even be thought of in the history of Ghana, like you rightly said. And that even takes me to another angle. The same Western people making noise now, when e-levy was passed, they knew that e-levy was a regressive tax. They knew. I mean, they've written tons of books, Adam Smith and his friends, on progressive taxes and regressive taxes. They knew very well that e-levy was going to be a nuisance tax, a flop, but it would damage the rights, the human right to enjoying a decent standard of living of many Ghanaians. I didn't see any circular or any threats from any British High Commissioner or US ambassador and stuff like that. So that in itself is a question mark on their consistency. But as for Nanado's case, the thing is the man has checked out of Ghana long ago. So when you say some of these things, the sad part is he even talked about a court case before the court case even landed. The man comes the day before to say, there's a court case in the Supreme Court, so that I'll hold up, I won't sign. Then the next day, bam, Richard Sky, what's his name? The Prime Minister's boy. The Prime Minister, what's his name again? Gabi's boy goes to Supreme Court. Now it tells me that Nanado is one of those people that you can go and see, they'll tell you about your future. And probably it's just that maybe he doesn't see things well, because the last time he saw something, he said he saw that we were sitting on money. We put him there to let us get up and we'll take the money. And we realized it was a very deep pitch, a very deep pit called National Cathedral. But that is part of the stinking hypocrisy. Even the same finance minister that was saying that we were talking earlier said, we will lose money. Tell Amin to go to his constituency, take a megaphone and tell that to his people and see whether they'll vote for him or not. Ask him if he went into any makaranta and he was to teach Islamic law, what would he say? That law is endorsed by Islamic law? Is that not why all our major religions, African traditionalists, Christians, Muslims, Mozambique Christo, everybody in Ghana, we are all agreed that this is protecting our cultural values? The man is sitting down saying that I'm a human rights. The same human rights lawyer supervised the maiming and killing of people at Ayawaso West Wobon. What did we hear about that? Or that time he was not yet a human rights lawyer. Maybe by then he was just he was still a planqué lawyer. The same person supervised the murder of 8 people at the 2020 election, the first time in the history of our country. Even under President Rawlings, where they said that it was a hard-fisted regime and people were beaten to pulp, at least they were beaten and giving their lives to go away. This one, they were shot and killed in cold blood. As we speak today, that same human rights lawyer has still not found his voice. No. He has still not remembered that he has a voice. When it comes to this man, he wants to please some people. Look, where Ghana is, it is not the Americans that will save us. It is not IMF or anybody that will save us. It is common sense. And we start with common sense by doing the things that promote cultural values, doing the things that get us out of the pit. How do you go and build a national cathedral? And you even had a Bible museum that will be in that national cathedral. You even imported a stone from Israel to put under the foundation of that national cathedral. That whole cathedral is built around the Bible. The same Bible that talks about Sodom and Gomorrah. The same Bible, you can go through many verses in the Bible, and it is very clear that having unnatural carnal knowledge is not biblically right. It's not godly. The same man who burned $58 million digging a pit on which we are yet to realize a national cathedral, turned around and said, I'm a human rights lawyer, therefore I want to legalize what is against the very foundation of my national cathedral. What do you say about a man like this? An emperor with no clothes. That's the easiest description.
Well, Mr. Dumba, we can keep having this. We can keep going and going and going. And I am not the one going to tell you whether our listeners have been enjoying the show or not. I'll let the listeners speak for themselves. But before they do, as I will read their messages to you to hear from them, we would like to thank you very much for always making time, as always, to join us anytime you are called upon, and for always sharing and allowing us to tap into your knowledge, your experience, and your expertise. We are grateful to you. I am sure that Ghana is grateful to you. Our viewers are grateful to you, and we are thankful that you have made time to join us this evening. Thank you again.
I'm grateful to be here. Always grateful to be in good company in this studio. So anytime, anywhere, like the ever-ready battery, always on standby.
Yes, so stand by. Let's stand by us as our viewers tell you what they think about the program. So, Mr. Producer, let's read the latest messages that are in before we call it a day. So, Kweku Insia, he says, I'm listening to Wisdom Pa. In fact, your programs are very educative and decorous, not as those insulting and noisy programs on the internet. Thank you very much, Kweku. And then Frima Oye responds to Kwesi Insia's message, and he says, Kwesi Insia, you are right. Their programs are very well organized and educative. No wonder they are growing steadily. I don't waste my data on those noisy online programs. That is what they think. And Kweku Adi, he says, well, Chairman, I guess this is the final one. He says, Chairman will kill people. Akufo-Addo is now a seer. He can see we sit on money, but he can't touch the money. Thank you very much, Kweku Adi, for the message. And Kweku Ivo, he says, Suhum is boiling for your program. Thank you very much, Kweku, and thank you to all our viewers and our listeners for making time to join us for our program today. We say a special thank you to our listeners on Sakina Information Center in Tatali in northern Ghana. We also say thank you to our listeners on High FM 3.7 in Atuhimai in the eastern region. And also thank you to our listeners on the King's Radio. And thank you to all our various viewers on all our social media networks who joined us today live on Today Ghana News TV, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on all your social media networks. Bobo Jr., you say, I think Chairman is so much needed to join the COM team in Ghana. Thank you very much, Bobo Jr., for the message, and thank you to all our listeners. Until we come your way again next week with another exciting program, Stay blessed. Take care. God bless you. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you, and have a good night.
Country where I come from, the truth is an irony, just like